So this morning, I'm going to try to replicate an unplanned learning opportunity that happened last Tuesday. So I put all of the Tuesday programs that everybody had written back in, and really, you turn the switch, the fan runs. Now what I did, and here's where I really am curious about this, but also want to figure out how, if there's an opportunity to replicate it at some point during the classes. Somehow I started flooding the network of enough packets that I believe, or at least that's what I think, I started flooding with enough packets that the PowerFlexes started dropping offline. Now in the end, what I was doing was Michael was working down here on station 1. We're making some upgrades for, taking it to the latest version of Studio 5000, latest version of TIA Portal. Once a year, we upgrade all the images. So he was working on this, and he needed one big file. And usually we copy them over hard drives, but I just went into File Explorer and started copying that file. So I'm going to try to do it again. So last time, I had simply gone to Station 1. And actually, it was this Factory Talk view, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it back out. And paste. And there you have it. So very quickly after that, we're getting fault 73. Yep. On pretty much all of the drives. Well, why aren't you faulting? Well, you have a different fault. He was digging into the fault code, which coincidentally, the one across from it did not fault either. It seems fine. So, two things. Yeah, I got to figure out what the root cause is, and also I got to figure out if it's worthwhile to replicate it. Oh. Now here's the thing. They go in pairs. You just saw that these weren't doing it. That one's faulted. And this one's faulted. That was the other weird thing, and I couldn't figure out it was a coincidence, but that time, no doubt, they're going in pairs. And we do have some VLANs going across the stations. So the goals really are, first of all, I do need to find the root cause and then figure out if there's a pocket that I could make this a good exercise sometime during the class. Now, I get the feeling this one is going to be above my networking pay grade, and that's why you always need a good networking person in your pocket. And one, if you haven't signed up for TracerouteCon in October, I think that's October 7th and 8th. Let me double check that. Yeah, if we go to TracerouteLLC.com, and then go to training, and then right here, for individuals, yeah, October 7th and 8th, and that will be in Plano, Texas. This will actually be my second time there because, yeah, I learned a ton the first time, and now I'm going back to learn some specific networking items. This one isn't on the list, but you better believe I'm going to use what I learned last time on TraceRoute.com or TracerouteCon and see if we can work this out. So when this does happen, it was knocking it offline. But what we're going to do is we are going to use port mirroring to do some captures because immediately, probably, maybe even by now, someone's put in the comments, we'll put Wireshark on it. But simply putting Wireshark on it isn't good enough. So one of the big things that we came back with TraceRoute.com, which Josh had been writing me for years about, is, Tim, will you please quit putting unmanaged switches on your equipment? And so we upgraded to this Siemens switch that has a lot of layer 2 and layer 3 capabilities, and the big one is port mirroring. And this one is already configured. That's why it has a little pigtail on it. That way, for incidents like this. But let's go check it out. So if I go over here, and we're going to go to 192.168.1.168. That is this Ethernet switch. And then I'm going to go ahead and log into it. And then over here on the left side, I am going to go into layer 2 and then mirroring. And you can see here I already have port 7, which that is where this pigtail is hanging, set up for port mirroring. Now typically on it, what we've been mirroring is port 1, and port 1 goes to the Compact Guard Logix PLC. But in this case, we're trying to figure out something that is coming over the network from my computer, and that is going to be on port 8. So I'm going to uncheck the ingress and egress on port 1, and I'm going to check those on port 8 and set values. And then we'll go ahead and save those changes. And then I'm going to go over here. First of all, I'm going to cancel my file copy. And we're going to get a good trace. Now, for some of you that are using, in our case, we use VirtualBox. In fact, because I'm going to have to pop off of it, there's a little hidden menu here. But Virtual Machine, VirtualBox, any of those, they do not always work well with Wireshark. You will not get the actual captures you're looking for. So I'm actually going to pop out of my virtual machine. And then we're going to go to Wireshark, which isn't even installed. So I'm going to install it really quick. But yeah, to install it, you just go to wireshark.org, and we're going to hit that download. And I'm going to grab that Windows 64 installer. And now I'm going to go back online in my image because I was online. I want to try to replicate it as much as possible. And then we're going to go over here to Wireshark, and we want to get the adapter that actually has the actual Ethernet traffic. And so that is going to be this Ethernet 2 in my case. And we're going to go ahead and start a capture on it. And I think a lot of us try to dig into this and try to understand what's going on. Don't do that. We're just going to let it sit here and run for a little bit. In fact, I'm going to turn the drive switch to the, to run the drive. Drive runs fine, just in case that's doing anything in it. I'm gonna turn it back off. That'd actually be a good video one day just to show what is coming across on that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and stop this one. And then I'm gonna go File, Save As, and I'm just gonna put it in what I'm gonna call Good Drives, or let's say Good Run. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go and take out that Factory Talk View folder again and go ahead and start that copy. And then we're going to talk about what I did wrong with that one. Because that capture I just did is the same capture you would get if you were just plugging into an unmanaged switch. Because I sat there and pointed all of those items out that we needed and what we needed to do, but I forgot to plug the cable into the other spot. So I need to pop this green cable off here, and it needs to plug into this pigtail. Once again, we will cancel this, because yeah, my first capture is no good. Going to clear that out. And then we'll go ahead and stop this because we need to start it again. So start, continue without saving. And this is the good run again. And I'll go ahead and reset my drive. And then I should be able to turn switch 4 to the left. Drive runs perfectly fine. Everything is super happy. So now I'll go ahead and stop that one and go File, Save As. I'm going to save that as that good run again. All right, now one mistake I made last time was I didn't actually have the capture going when I started the copy, and I should get that whole thing. So we're going to go ahead and hit that again, because last time I could not get over there fast enough after this. So in fact, let's just do a run, get a little motion sickness. Oh, it hadn't faulted yet though. All right, so it is copying. And there it goes. So now it faults. So I know in this capture, it definitely has the information of that fault. And I believe I might be 205. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I get a feeling that probably has a lot to do with it right there. So we'll go ahead and stop that capture. And I'll go File, Save As. And this will be bad run. And a really quick IP config confirms my suspicion. I am 192.168.1.205. Now we need to dissect those two packets. And yeah, I'm going to work with Josh Varghese at Traceroute on this. And here's a link right here that you can sign up for TracerouteCon. That's with October 7th and 8th. And I hope to see you there because, you know, even me, I mean, I do training. You better believe I go to a lot of training. And I've been to this training and it was incredibly enlightening. Enough that, yeah, I need to go back again to add for some new features that we're going to be adding to our training. So I hope to see you there.